Hey, good morning, and welcome to your beginner style yoga practice with Marvin. Um, this morning's practice is really ideally suited for anyone who's completely brand new to the practice, if you're feeling a little bit stiff or a little bit tight. And then it's also designed for a more experienced yogi who's just looking for something a little bit more meditative, um, finding a little bit more pratyahara to go within. And so with that being said, I would recommend, particularly if you're tight, that you start out, sitting yourself up on top of a pillow, or if you have yoga blocks or a meditation cushion, you'll sit up on that. And then if you're new to this, you'll kind of sit forward on your pillow or your block so that you kind of feel this space here in your low back, which ideally helps you to sit up more tall and straight. And once you've found your comfortable seated position, rest your hands either on your knees or thighs, palms face up or down, and close your eyes. In the beginning, learning how to meditate can often just seem like you're paying attention to really boring things and looking at them as if they were interesting. And so let the first thing you notice be the connection of your body to the floor. Take a moment to just feel, where do you touch down to the floor? Maybe notice, where are you heaviest inside of your body? And now switch your awareness and start to notice the temperature of the air on your skin. You feel warm or cool? And then maybe notice, are you the same temperature throughout your whole body? Or are some parts of you warmer while other parts are cool? Notice the temperature of your cheek versus your elbow, versus your knee. Now let's start to notice the temperature of our breath. When you take a breath in, can you feel how inside your nose the air is just a little bit cooler? And when you breathe out, try it again. Slow, deep breath in through your nose. Try to feel how the air is just a little bit cooler when you breathe in. And when you breathe out, having been heated by your body, the air is just a little bit warmer. Try to relax your belly muscles the next time you breathe in. Your breath starts down in your belly. When you breathe out, just feel how your belly naturally hugs in toward your back a little bit. Try not to fight it. Breathing in through your nose, like a balloon, let your belly fill. When breathing out through your nose, just notice how your belly empties. Let's add a second part to the breath this time, breathing in through your nose. Your belly fills. Your chest or your shoulders fill. And on your exhale, let yourself release. Keep going. Follow your breath. On the inhale, your breath moves from your belly up toward your heart, toward your throat. And on your exhale, you let the breath release, throat, heart, belly. Let's add a little bit of movement. Try not to rush the breath. Try not to rush the movement. The next time you exhale, your chin falls down towards your chest like you're looking down. We'll just do some neck rolls. On your inhale, roll your head around to the right and back in space. And on your exhale, roll your head down and around to the left. Your chin comes towards your chest. Do that a few more times, following your breath. Inhale, rolling around and back. Exhaling, rolling down and forward. Relax your jaw so there's some space between your teeth. Do that a few more times. And then there's no rush to get there. The next time that your chin is towards your chest, switch your circular direction, using your inhale to roll around to the left and back. And your exhale rolls down and around to the right, your chin towards your chest. Relax your jaw, relax your shoulders. Maybe just start to notice the weight of your skull, the weight of your brain. And the next time your chin comes to your chest, pause and slowness. Inhale, lift your head back to neutral. And now almost like you're saying no. Exhale, turn to look over one shoulder or the other. Inhale, slowly turn your face back for something. Exhale, turn to look the other way. Keep going, follow your breath. Notice if you've begun to kind of slump or round forward. If so, can you sit up tall again? If your low back feels particularly tight, you might sit up on a second pillow. Back to that slow, steady breath. Ideally, that slow breath in, belly, heart, throat. And that slow breath out, throat, heart, belly, becomes the breath we use throughout the whole practice. It might seem kind of easy now when the work's not so hard. When we start to work toward harder postures, maybe push-ups or planks, that breath will become helpful. Help us maintain control of our heartbeat, as well as our mind. Just start to tell us what we can't do. Just start to try and tell us we're not strong enough, or that feeling in our shoulders, that burning of exercise is just too much. When those bullshit kind of thoughts arise, we use that slow, steady breath to notice the thoughts for what they are. Bullshit thoughts. Let's go for about 10 more seconds here, just slowly establishing the breath, turning your head left to right. The next time that your face turns through center, let's switch your grip, bring your hands more toward your shins, just below your knees. And on your inhale, pull backward, find a lift in your chest to broaden across your collarbones and look up. And then on your exhale, do the opposite, kind of round forward and then look down toward the floor. On your inhale, lift your chest, broaden across your collarbones, lift your gaze. And on your exhale, rounding forward, just finding some mobility in our spine. Inhale, belly, heart, throat lift. Exhale, throat, heart, belly, round. And again, you might find this little bit of movement around your shoulders and chest. Inhale, broaden. Exhale, jump. 3 more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. For this last one, we're going to play with holding our breath and the pose. Take a full deep breath in. Hold. Relax your jaw. Relax your shoulders. 3, 2, 1. Exhale, release your breath and round. And now hold with the breath out of your body. Notice what it's like to be empty. Relax your shoulders and jaw. 3, 2, 1 more time each way. Inhale. Hold. Notice fullness. Relax your jaw and your shoulders. Now the opposite, exhale, round, empty, 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 empty. Hold, notice empty. We'll switch it up one more time. Inhale, lift and hold. Now this time, keep holding your breath in, but round. Notice, 3, 2, 1. Now hold the shape, but let go of the breath. Hold the breath out, but lift. 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Hold your breath, round. Exhale. Hold your breath out, lift. Breath in. Exhale back to a neutral spine. All right, let's come off of our seat. You're going to lay down onto your back. Bend your knees. And you'll place your feet so that they're about hips-width distance apart. You're going to want to make sure that you've got your pillow and the couch cushion or pillow from your couch would work perfectly well. Bring your hands down by the sides of your body. Walk your feet out so they come about as wide as your mat. Take a breath in through your nose. Slow, steady inhale. And on your slow, steady exhale, let your knees fall into touch. Your feet will stay where they are. If that feels like it hurts your knees, bring your feet a little closer together. Slow breath in. Let your knees move apart. And slow breath out. Let your knees come toward each other. Again, if you feel pain in your knees, walk your feet a little closer together. Otherwise, the feet stay relatively still. Inhale, belly, heart, throat. Let your knees move apart. Exhale, throat, heart, belly. Your knees come together. Keep going. Follow your breath. And then as the work becomes more familiar, you don't have to think about it quite as much. Just start to notice the relationship between your legs. And your hips, around where your legs become your belly, your butt, and your lower back. Do you feel any movement there? Perhaps another way of looking at this is, what is the driver of this movement? Versus what is the passenger? Almost the entirety of our legs are moving. But where does that movement originate? Again, another way of looking at it still is, where do you feel this the most inside of your body? There aren't really any right or wrong answers to these questions necessarily. But what we're beginning to do is the process of self-inquiry. Just looking at our bodies from the inside out. You ever heard of the almost magical, elusive kind of third eye? This is a very practical usage of that quote-unquote third eye. Where we essentially use our inner vision, our inner imagination to notice, feel, see, hear our bodies from the inside out. And so we'll go for about 10 more seconds. Just kind of notice, where you feel this the most. Belly, heart, throat, inhale. throat, heart, belly, exhale. Now we're going to begin to build upon this. Keep your feet where they are. Inhale, let your knees move away from one another. And now exhale, let both knees windshield wiper to the right. Inhale back through center. Keeping your feet relatively still. Exhale, let both knees windshield wiper to the left. Inhale through center. Exhale, keep going side to side. Now, if you feel like this is too much, you can always take those pillows and kind of place them as a bottom level for you so that your bottom leg hits that pillow. If this causes any pain to your low back, to your hips, or to your knees, give yourself permission to back off by simply lying on your back, breathing and noticing. And if even that's too much, find a position that works better for you. Part of this practice is learning not to cause ourselves pain. Maybe going to a point where we feel some kind of almost like heat inside, like that sensation you might get after exercise, doing some sit-ups or push-ups, but never a sharp, stabby, oh shit, I'm going to need to go to the doctor's after the kind of feeling. And if you ever do feel something like that, it's definitely worth stopping back. So again, we'll go for about 30 more seconds. Try to establish yourself in that slow, steady breath. Inhale, belly, heart, throat. Your legs move through center. Exhaling, throat, heart, belly. Your legs go side to side. Maybe start to turn your head now. And you're turning your head the opposite direction as your legs. So when your legs go left, your whole head turns to the right. At the same time, you inhale everything back through center. And then exhale, switching sides. Your legs windshield wiper one way, and your gaze turns the opposite way. If that hurts your neck or shoulders, back off. Maybe like you did before, start to notice, where do you feel this the most? Where does it feel like this movement is originating inside of your body? You don't necessarily have to have words to describe it. You don't need to know what the anatomy is called. You're just trying to notice it inside yourself. So kind of notice that place around your low back. It would be like where your legs become your butt and your belly. What do you feel there? What about your outer hips? More like where your hip bones would be. You go from that place down towards your knees. Do you feel anything there? You might even find it helpful to imagine these strands of energy, these strands of light that connect to the sensations. Just trying to create a more complete connection with our body. 20 more seconds, then we'll switch this up and move toward our shoulders. And so the next time that you inhale everything back through center, take a moment, draw your knees in towards your chest. Reach your hands around, take either your shin bones, or if that feels inaccessible, take the backs of your legs kind of behind your knees. And draw your thighs in towards your belly and rock a little bit left and right. Pause in the center, take a full deep breath in, and on your exhale, extend your left leg straight down along the mat. And if you find that having your left leg straight hurts your low back, bend your left knee and place your foot on the floor. That should take the pressure off your low back. If your left leg is straight, flex your foot almost like you're standing on it, and then try to lengthen your heel down toward the bottom edge of your mat. You won't see much of a change, but you might feel it. Take a full deep breath in, let your belly fill, and you might even back off a little bit on that squeeze of your leg. But on your exhale, as you begin to empty, bend your elbows a little bit. Maybe pull your knee in toward your chest, your thigh in toward your belly. Don't allow yourself to move to a point where you feel sharp pain. Back off if you ever start to get there. 3 more breaths. Inhaling, belly, heart, throat. Exhaling, throat, heart, belly. Really breathing down into your belly, helping to massage the intestines here. Inhaling and exhaling. And then on your next inhale, draw both knees back in towards your body. Exhale to switch sides. Extend your right leg straight down along the mat. Again, you'll flex your foot like you're standing on it so your toes point straight up toward the sky. That's too much stretch here for your hip where your leg meets your belly. Or if your low back is feeling pain, back off by bending your knee and placing your right foot flat onto the floor. Inhaling, belly, heart, throat. Maybe you back off a little bit. And then on your exhale, throat, heart, belly, pull that left thigh in just a little bit tighter, so long as it doesn't cause you any pain. You're always coming back to the best of your ability as you remember to that 3-part Dirga breath. That word Dirga means the long breath. Filling ourselves with oxygen. And one more like that. Breath in. And breath out. Now let's inhale, draw both knees to our chest, both thighs to our belly. Exhale, place your feet down onto the floor. And again, we're going to start to work into our shoulders a bit now. I call this next move rock the baby. And so you're going to grab opposite elbows across your chest, almost like you might be holding a baby there. Take a full deep breath in through your nose, and on your exhale, rock that imaginary baby toward the right. This causes pain in the back of your shoulders. Take opposite wrists instead of elbows. Inhale back through the center. Exhale toward the other side. Again, if it causes pain toward the backs of your shoulders, opposite wrists instead of elbows. Inhale, center. Exhale toward the other side. Now note there's some space between your arms and your chest. It's not like it's a cold, frigid day and you're holding really tightly. Instead, you've got almost like this circle, so there is some space between your chest and between your arms. Inhaling through the center, exhaling side to side, and now as you start to find this rocking, if it feels okay for your neck, you'll begin to turn your head to follow your arms. Don't push it to the point of causing yourself pain. Note also that the more that we work back and forth, side to side, the more your shoulder joint should safely begin to open. I often joke with my clients that we don't want to jump right into the tissue. We want to take it on a couple of dates first. We want to woo it. And so as you woo your shoulders, slowly using your breath, notice if you can almost surrender into a place that's deeper. Particularly in this more gentle style of practice where we're doing these moving meditations. We don't want to fight the practice. We don't want to force ourselves into the shape. Instead, using our breath, just like water, we want to soften into the shape. We want to let the shape come to us. So use those slow, steady exhales. And the heaviness that comes from that. Go deeper side to side. If your body seems like it wants to go there. Inhaling belly, heart, throat. Exhaling through heart, belly. Just start to notice, where do you feel this the most? No right or wrong answer. You might start to imagine that there's lights in all the places that you can feel anything, just connecting your body. And part of what we're doing here is just trying to create a more complete mental map of ourselves, a more complete understanding. In the yogic path, we call this beginning stage of meditation pratyahara. And pratyahara just means withdrawal of the senses inward. And almost like a practical usage of your third eye. Go for about 20 more seconds. And then we'll build upon this movement in the shoulders. Inhaling through center. Exhaling side to side. And the next time your elbows are over to the left, pause. And now on your inhale, almost like you're taking your shirt off, bring those arms up and around over your head. And on your exhale, complete the circle, moving the arms down and around past your belly. Slow, steady inhale through your nose, belly, heart, throat. The arms move up and around overhead to the left. And then exhaling, throat, heart, belly, down and around to the right. Inhaling, up and around to the left. Exhaling down and around to the right. Where you feel this, you can feel it in your upper back. You might feel it a lot in your chest. You might feel it in your neck. Down in your rib cage or your low back. Can you notice how even though we're circling the arms, we've got muscles that attach the arms to the back, to the ribs, to the chest. There's no right or wrong answers, just beginning to understand our bodies more fully. Understand that even though it's convenient to separate ourselves into a shoulder or an arm or a wrist or a hand, in actuality, all of these individual pieces are connected into one vessel. And for about 10 more seconds, belly, heart, throat, inhale. For a heart, belly, exhale, no rush. Next time your arms are down by your belly, just switch your direction. Inhaling up and around the other way. And exhaling down and around to complete your circle. And you just start to imagine these lights. In any place that you feel sensation. The lights can be any color you choose. Trust your intuition. Part of meditating is learning to get past the critic in your mind. Part of learning to meditate is just learn how to trust, to listen, to almost invite into yourself a dreamlike state, a place where you almost exist between worlds. A place where there is no right or wrong answer. You're simply exploring yourself from the inside out. Becoming more intimately involved with your body and your breath. Using your body and your breath to help your mind relax. Using your body and your breath to create room for your own spirit to flow through you. 20 more seconds, belly, heart, filled in. For a heart, belly, exhale, we're going to switch it up. The next time that your arms are overhead, just pause there. If it feels okay to grab these opposite elbows, do so. If it feels better to take opposite wrists, that's good. If that still is too much, you can bring your arms out more into like a field goal shape, where you've got this bend at the elbows, or your palms are face up. Walk your feet out about as wide as your mat. Let your knees fall into touch. If that hurts your knees, walk your feet a little closer together. As you come into your breath here, what I want you to try to notice is your tailbone touching down into the floor. Your tailbone's somewhere around the very top of your butt and the very bottom of your low back. It's almost like in an in-between place. Once you've found that tailbone space, I want you to slowly in your mind trace your spine upward toward your skull. And can you notice a lot of your spine is actually gently curved away from the floor, particularly in your low back. Your spine naturally curves away from the floor like a little hill toward your belly. You won't see anything change, but on your next exhale, imagine that your tailbone can lengthen down toward your heels. Take your full, slow, steady breath in, belly, heart, throat. And on your exhale, you imagine that tailbone lengthening down toward your heels. You might even feel these little letting goes inside your legs and your hips. see a change, but energetically you might notice a little bit of a difference. For 10 more seconds, just finding this opening across our chests, while at the same time energetically lengthening our hips and low back down toward the bottom edge of our mats. But on your next exhale, let your hands just slide down your forearms toward your wrists, and then move away from each other. And then bring your hands down by the sides of your body. Turn your palms face down. Let your knees move away from one another, and then draw both knees into your body for just a moment. You might take and give them a squeeze. Exhale, release your feet to the floor, but this time make your feet about hips width distance. And a good judge of hips width is you can place 2 fists between your feet. Once more, try to notice that curve of your low back, how it doesn't really touch the floor. Take a breath in through your nose, and on your exhale, press the curve of your low back down toward the floor. Inhale, press your tail toward the floor so that your low back arches away from the ground. And then exhale, press the curve of your low back toward the floor. You probably won't see very much change, but you should feel it. Inhale, your low back arches away from the floor. Exhale, press the curve of your low back toward the floor. Inhale to arch. Exhale to press. Keep going. Follow your breath. Inhale, arch. Exhale, press. And so we talk about the spine like it's, this one thing, but like all of our body, it's very complex. It's made up of a bunch of different parts. And so the lower part of our spine is called the lumbar spine. That's what we're trying to focus our inner awareness on now. The lumbar spine is made up of 5 bones. And each of these 5 bones has joints between them. The lumbar spine naturally curves inward toward your belly, almost like a little hill off the floor. And so as we're doing this work, inhaling to arch the low back, and then exhaling to gently press the low back toward the floor, we're just trying to find some mobility there in those 5 bones that make up the lumbar spine. And if you've ever had any issues with your lower back, your doctor will probably say something about your L4 or L5, and what the L stands for is just lumbar. And 4 or 5 just refers to whichever joint or bone that they're saying is inflamed or causing your issue. Further explain that. L5 is the bone just above your tailbone, and then it goes above that, so counting backward almost from the bottom up. And so keep finding this slow arching around your lumbar spine, that low back. But do you feel any movement around your head and skull? Like when I press my low back into the floor, I can feel I almost want to look upward toward the top edge of my mat. And then when I inhale and my low back arches, my chin almost gently tucks toward my chest, almost like I'm kind of looking down a little bit toward my belly. Again, when I press the curve of my lumbar spine toward the floor, it's like I almost tilt my head upward to look toward the top edge of my mat. And then when I inhale and arch my lumbar spine away from the floor, I can almost feel how my skull and my head want to look down, my chin tucks a little toward my chest. So long as it doesn't cause pain in your cervical spine, in your neck, start to find it. You don't have to have words to describe it. Can you notice the relationship between your lumbar spine and your low back, and your cervical spine, your neck? How movement in one affects movement in the other. There are 7 bones that make up your cervical spine, that make up your neck, starting just at the base of your skull and essentially running down toward the tops of your shoulders, right where your shoulders and your neck meet. Like the lumbar spine, how it curves in toward your belly, your cervical spine naturally curves in toward your throat. Relax your jaw. Just noticing the relationship between your lumbar spine, your low back, and your cervical spine, your neck. More than anything, you're just going to shift your awareness now toward your middle spine. It's called the thoracic spine. And your thoracic is made up of the 12 bones that essentially support your rib cage. Remember, the low back and the neck both kind of curve inward toward our belly and toward our throat. Your mid-back does the opposite. It naturally curves down toward the floor. Think of like Quasimodo's hump. It's a very exaggerated version of that mid-back curve. Because these 12 bones of the mid-back support the rib cage, and a lot of our lungs, our heart, all that stuff is located there. These tend to be some of the least flexible places. Just starting to notice how much movement do you feel there. Or for about 20 more seconds, then we'll build upon this work. Just kind of feeling these gentle undulations through your spine. If you ever want to kind of just find an easy way to remember the bones in your back, when my teacher taught it was, think of it as breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We have breakfast in our neck at 7 a.m., 7 bones that make up the cervical spine. We have lunch in our mid-back at 12 noon, 12 bones that make up the thoracic. And then dinner at 5 in the low back, the lumbar spine, 5 bones there. All right, let's start to build by adding bridge pose to this. On the next time that you inhale, what I want you to do is press into your feet to lift your butt and low back away from the floor. And on your exhale, slowly lower back down to the ground. Don't feel like you've got to lift very high. And if this causes pain in your knees, bring your feet a little bit further away from your butt. Inhale, press to lift. Exhale, lower. Belly, heart, throat, inhale, lifting up into bridge pose. Exhale, throat, heart, belly to lower. First things first, I want you to start to notice the bottoms of your feet. And in your mind, I want you to cut your foot in half between the front where your toes are and the back where your heel is. Where does it feel like you press more? Can you begin to press more into your heels if you aren't? This press into the heels might help to turn on your butt muscles a little bit, which in turn will help to protect your knees. All right, now I want you to chop your foot between the big toe side and the pinky toe side edge. And for many of us, It might feel like you're pressing more into the pinky toe edge of your foot, which will cause your knees to move apart from each other when you lift and probably cause your butt muscles to kind of feel like they're engaging. So for the next few, I want you to press more from your big toe through your heel when you lift. And you might instead feel these quadriceps between your hips and your knees engage. Exhale, lower. Again, try not to let your knees move apart when you lift. The way we can help to accomplish this is by pressing from our big toe to the center heel. And let's start to add our arms. On the next time you inhale, press into your feet, but also press into the hands and the backs of your shoulders. Can you lift higher? Exhale, lower. Well, for about 20 more seconds, and then we're going to hold in that bridge pose. Inhale, press to lift. Exhale, lower. If it hurts your knees, you might bring your feet a little bit wider. Inhale, press. Exhale, lower. 2 more, and then we're going to hold. Inhale, press. Exhale, lower. All right, this time we're going to inhale, press, lift, and hold. Inhale, press. Exhale, hold the pose. Press more into your hands and the backs of your shoulders. Now remember when we press the curve of our low back into the floor and your tailbone kind of lengthens down? Can you find that action here? Maybe your low belly turns on. And then I want you to lengthen your chin away from your chest. Open your throat a little bit more. Press more into your hands. Press more into the backs of your shoulders and your elbows. Relax your jaw. Breathe 3. Push into your feet. Use your leg muscles. Breathe 2. On your next exhale, slowly with control, lower back down to the ground. Draw your knees into your chest. Draw your thighs into your belly. Give your legs a squeeze. And now roll over either onto your right or to your left side. Let's meet in tabletop position on our hands and knees. So perhaps the most common mistake I see in table is that people's fingers aren't spread wide. And so take a moment first, spread your fingers, cover more surface area, and then make sure that the wrinkle at your wrist lines up with the top edge of your mat. You definitely don't want your hands turned in. It's best to have your pointer or middle finger forward, and then make sure your wrist is right beneath your shoulder. Another common mistake I see is that hands are too far forward. We want to find more this stacked position and then push into the ground so that your arm muscles begin to turn on. Now we'll find what's called cat-cow. Inhale, lift your tail, lift your chest. Exhale, push around. It's very similar to the work that we did when we were laying down, but now we get a little bit more movement in our spines. Inhale, lift. Exhale, press around. Inhale, lift. We're going to build. This time as you exhale, press around. Push your butt backwards towards your feet. Maybe your forehead can come towards the ground. Inhale, come back up into that tabletop position. Lift your butt, lift your chest, lift your gaze. Exhale, push around, and then push your butt back towards your feet, coming into what's called child's pose. So we're going to move through that a few more times. Inhale through table, and then into the cow pose. Lift your butt, your chest, your gaze. Exhale, push around through your cat pose, and then back into child's pose. Deepen your breath. Inhale, table to cow. Exhale, cat to child. 5 more. Inhale, table to cow. Exhale, cat to child. Inhale through table to cow. Exhale, cat to child's pose. 2 more. Inhale, table to cow. Exhale, cat to balasana. One more, and then we'll hold in child's pose. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat to child. Now, if this hurts your knees to be here, you'll take a few of those pillows and essentially place them between your thighs, kind of straddle them and bring the floor up to you, and that way your butt can be lifted higher in the air. And that's it. If you don't have those pillows, you can just have your butt higher and be more on your forearms. But eventually the goal is to have our big toes touching and pressing our hips back toward our heels. You can have the knees apart if that makes it easier to breathe, or you bring your knees together and your belly rests on your thighs. And that'll help to create a compression of your inner organs and a massage of your organs via those deep breaths. We'll take 3 to 4 deep breaths here. It's too much to have your arms straight because it hurts your shoulders. Have a bend in your elbows. Your forehead is one day working toward the ground. Your butt is one day working back toward your feet. Notice if you're able here how your spine is rounded, more like Quasimodo, like the hunchback. This is the opposite of what we're looking for in a pose like downward facing dog. And so let's first come up into that table again. And now from your table, I want you to keep your butt where it is, but lower down onto your elbows. So place your elbows beneath your shoulders. And this might be where you stay, or you'll begin to walk your hands forward. I want you to keep your butt where it is up in the air, but as you walk your hands forward, your elbows are lifted and your forehead comes to the ground. If this feels like it's okay and you want even more, bring your chin to the ground or even your heart. This is different than child's pose because our spines are actually in a different shape. Here we're trying to open those 12 bones of the middle back, opening our heart. This is more the shape that our spine should take in downward facing dog. Looks like you're opening your heart. Now notice it's not going to go anywhere, but imagine lifting your butt up toward the ceiling and then backwards toward your feet. You might feel even more length. 3 more breaths. And this pose is called Happy Puppy. And it's a good place to take downward facing dog if down dog hurts your wrists or your shoulders. And so let's soften through our arms. Walk your hands back beneath your shoulders, coming through table. Make sure your hands are at least as wide as your shoulders. Tuck your toes here on the balls of your feet. Lift your butt up and back, coming into downward facing dog. Bend your knees. I don't care, wherever you are, bend your knees. And now push more into your hands and energetically lift your butt up and back so that more weight's in your legs. Then, if you should like, lengthen your heels down toward the floor. Push more into your hands. Energetically lift your butt up and back, and then maybe lengthen your heels down toward the floor. This way, instead of having this rounding in our spines, instead, like Happy Puppy, we're finding this kind of length across our chests. It's subtle. 3 more breaths. On your next exhale, you will walk your hands backwards toward your feet. Take as much time as you need. Keep that bend in your knees so that your belly is kind of on your thighs. And then inhale, place your hands on your legs beneath your knees and lift and lengthen into a flat back number 7 shape. Keep looking down for a moment so the back of your neck is long. Exhale, bend your knees a few inches, forward fold, and now release your head so that you look between your legs. We're going to do that a few times. Inhale, lift and lengthen, flat back number 7 shape. Exhale, forward fold. If you find it hard to breathe, take your feet a little wider. 3 more. Inhale, lift and lengthen. This time, imagine you can touch your butt to the ceiling, even with that bend in the knees. Feel the stretch in your hamstrings. Exhale, forward fold. Make sure that your feet are parallel, meaning your toes point straight forward. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Last one. Inhale, lift and lengthen. This time, as you exhale, forward fold, bend your knees enough to bring your hands to the floor, and then walk yourself forward into high plank, so a push-up style position. Lower your knees first. Engage your low belly. Hug your low belly in. Push more into your hands. And now imagine lengthening your chest away from your belly. From here, maybe extend your legs back. Though you're on the balls of your feet, lengthen your heels backwards. So you're not up on your tippity toes. Instead, almost like you could lengthen your calf muscle by pressing your heels backwards. Push more into your hands, and then energetically, I want you to imagine you can spin the outside of your arm backwards toward your butts, that your collarbones broaden. Breathing, 10. Relax your jaw, 9. Oh shit, that's right, I count in slow motion. Breathe, 8. You can do it, and if you feel like you start to feel pain, 7. You can lower your knees. Breathe, 6, but if you lower your knees, don't let your hips slump. Bad for your low back. Breathe, 5. Low belly stays engaged. Breathe, 4. Breathe, 3. Breathe, 2. All right, let's all lower our knees. And now you're going to place first your right elbow where your right hand was, your left elbow where your left hand was, and then you're going to walk your knees backwards so that your hips come down to the ground. For what's called Sphinx pose, we want our elbows beneath our shoulders, and our hands are as wide as our elbows, so our forearms are parallel to one another. Spread your fingers wide so that you can push into both your elbows and your hands. Energetically spin your outer arms backwards toward your butt. You won't see a change, but you're trying to broaden across your collarbones. Now, energetically, try to lengthen your butt down toward your feet. Let's see, another way of putting it is draw your pubic bone, kind of where it's your hips pushing into the floor. Hug that toward your belly button. You won't see a change, but these low abs ought to engage. And then imagine lengthening your heart away from your belly button and then up into the sky. And our goal here is to take those middle bones of the thoracic spine and almost curl them energetically forward toward our hearts, thereby opening our chest. This pose is known as a heart opener or as a back bend. 3 more breaths. On your exhale, you'll lower your right cheek to the mat. And I like to just open my arms out to the sides so they make a circle around my head. Take 1 more breath in, and on your exhale, turn your left cheek to the mat. So we can stretch the sides of our necks. Turn the chin or your forehead to the center of the mat. Now, slide your hands backwards so they're in line with your chest. And then zip your legs up tight like you've got a snake tail. Your shoelaces should be on the floor if you were wearing shoes. Press where your shoelaces would be into the ground so that your knees lift and your legs become a little bit active. And then gently hug your elbows in toward your rib cage so that you broaden across your collarbones. Don't use your hands to lift. Inhale, lift your head and chest. Exhale, lower. Remember, belly, heart, throat. Inhale to lift. Throat, heart, belly to lower. Try not to let the head drive the movement. Instead, inhale, lift your heart. Your head will follow as a passenger. Exhale, lower. 2 more. We're going to hold the last one. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. This time we inhale, lift, and hold the pose, but keep breathing. Activate your legs by pressing into your feet. Engage your low belly. Hug your pubic bone toward your belly button. Lengthen your heart away from your belly. Try not to push into your hands. Breathe 3. Breathe 2. On your next exhale, lower your right cheek to the mat. This time, bring your hands down by the sides of your body with your palms face up so that your shoulders can relax. If you're able, bring your big toes to touch and let your heels fall apart from one another. Maybe your hips or low back. Find another way to rest. 3 more breaths. On your next exhale, turn your left cheek to the mat. And take 3 more breaths. Bring your chin or forehead to the center of the mat and turn your palms face down now so that your hands are on the floor. Try not to let your left butt lift higher than your right butt. You'll see what I mean in a second. Inhale, lift your straight left leg. But don't let that left butt lift. Don't let your hip lift. Instead, you're lifting from the thigh muscles. The thighs are between the hips and the knees. Maybe lift a little higher so long as it doesn't cause pain in your low back or your knee. Breathe 3. Exhale to lower. We'll switch sides. Inhale, lift. Don't let your right hip lift higher than your left. Maybe on your next inhale, you can lift a little higher. Maybe that's ridiculous. So listen to your body. Take 1 more breath in. Exhale to release. Bend your knees. And just let your legs windshield wiper left and right. Help release the low back a little bit. Come to stillness in the center. Release your feet back to the floor. Bring your hands in line with your chest or shoulders. Breath in. Exhale your hips back to your heels. Come into that child's pose. So kind of pushing your butt toward your feet. Your big toes touch. You can have space between your thighs if that makes it easier to breathe. So you can have your belly can fit through your legs, but if you want more of that compression to the organs, legs come together. And that will also round our backs out more, creating more of that round in there. 3 more full deep breaths. And so in yoga, we do a special type of push-up called chaturanga. It's not designed as much to build your chest muscles the way a normal push-up would be. And so let's come first into table. Make sure that you start with your pointer fingers forward, and what I want you to energetically do is spin your outer arms backwards, that you broaden across your collarbones, and it almost should make this elbow bone point backward, not if it causes pain. The reason you do that is in a moment, when you shift your weight forward and bend your elbows, that'll keep the elbows in toward the ribcage instead of splaying way out to the sides. We don't want this. Instead, we want this. The other thing that I want you to notice for your chaturanga is you want to keep a little lift in your chest, and you want to start by moving your shoulders forward past your fingertips, that you almost feel like you're going to fall into your belly. Don't let your hips sag. Instead, your low belly's active. Your ass is kind of lifted a little bit. And then as you exhale, your chest will go forward and down. You'll stop when your elbows are in line with your shoulders. If you can't and you have to go all the way to the ground, I want you to stop after 1 inch and then straighten your arms back to table, press back to child's. So let's start first in that table. Find a lift in your chest and even look forward a little bit. You definitely don't want to look back. Engage your low belly. And now start to shift your chest forward, 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 forward. Breath in. Exhale, bend your elbows between 1 and 5 inches. Your gaze stays forward. Inhale, straighten your arms. Exhale your hips back to your heels. Child's pose. We're going to do that for about 30 seconds. Oh, you can always pause here in child's if you need. Otherwise, inhale through table. Lift your chest, lift your gaze, shoulders past your fingertips. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, table. Exhale, child's. Keep going, follow your breath. Inhaling through table. Lift your gaze in your chest. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, table. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Don't round in your upper back. Instead, keep that length there in your chest. Don't let your hips sag. Instead, keep your butt slightly lifted. 3, 2. Make this the last one when you come back into your child's pose. 3 breaths here. Eventually, this is designed to be a meditative and restful posture. That certainly does depend on the health of your knees and your lower back, though. So if somebody tells you you're supposed to rest here, and you're like, what the hell are you talking about? Don't be surprised. It took me years before this pose became restful. Next, let's walk our hands back toward our knees or toward our thighs. We'll come back into our seat. We recommend that you take your pillow, excuse me, or your yoga block, sit up onto that. Reach your arms out to the sides, almost like you're going to stretch out wide, and then bear hug yourself with your left arm underneath of your right. This is certainly more than enough, especially if you're tight in the backs of your shoulders. And we'll now take eagle arms, where we will keep that cross in the arms, but wrap your forearms around one another. So again, first your arms are out, left arm underneath of the right, like you're bear hugging. That's plenty, or you kind of reach your forearms a little forward, and then take that bottom arm, bring your thumb up toward the sky, and then with the opposite arm, forward and around. Kids practice for sure. And then breathe. Excuse me, hiccups, I'm sorry. Close your eyes. Belly, heart, throat, inhale. Throat, heart, belly, exhale. 3 more breaths. If your eyes have been closed, take a moment to blink them open. Notice which arm is underneath and which is on top, so that when we switch in a moment, you make sure to do the other side. And so on your next inhale, you'll release, unwind the arms, reach them out and overhead, bring your palms to touch, get tall, tall, tall. Exhale your arms out to the sides, and then this time right arm underneath of the left, the bear hugging, and pausing here. Or take your bottom arm, first reach it out to the side, bring your thumb up toward the sky, so your hands in front of your face. And then with what would be your top arm, release that more forward, turn your palm face up, and then bend your elbow to bring that forearm behind the other, and then ideally, turn the palms to face. If that brought your arms way out to the side or you felt all crooked, bring your elbows back center line with your chest, and then lift your elbows in line with your shoulders. Breathe. Belly, heart, throat, inhale. Throat, heart, belly, exhale. Just kind of remember these arms because we're going to use them before our final meditation for some for some sit-up work, some belly work. 3 more breaths. And on your inhale, unwind, reach those arms up and overhead, palms touch. Exhale your hands to your heart. And let's lie down onto our backs for the last bits of our practice. As promised, we're going to do some crunching work. So first, bend your knees, cross your right thigh tight over top the left. So there's no space at all. It's legs are zipped up really close together. With the right leg on top, you're going to bring the right arm underneath and either bear hugging yourself, or just like we did a moment ago, you're going to wrap up and take those eagle arms. These are called eagle crunches. We're going to do 10, one each side. That said, if it feels like it's too much at all, feel free to just take a break by unwinding, bring your hands down, draw your knees into the chest. So first, right thigh tight over the left, right arm underneath. So lift your feet up. They're not going to touch again. Take a breath in, exhale, lift your head and shoulders, bring your elbows towards your knees. And now you're going to inhale, lengthen your body, lower your head and shoulders. Don't let your feet touch, but you might straighten your legs forward. They're still crossed. Exhale, crunch 2. Inhale. Exhale, 3. In. Out, 4. In. Exhale, 5. Inhale. Exhale, 6. In. Crunch 7. Inhale, lengthen. Crunch 8. Lengthen. Exhale, 9. Last one on the side. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, 10. Unwind, draw your knees into your chest, thighs into your belly. Take a moment to listen to the bullshit thoughts in your brain and recognize them as that, because you just did it. Oh, but alas, we have 2 sides to do. So release your feet to the floor. It gets easier after this, I promise. We'll go back to that chill stuff. Left thigh, tight over the right. Reach your arms up and then bear hug with your left arm underneath, plenty, or Garudasana arms, eagle pose in the arms. All right, lift your feet. 10 more, you got this. Breath in, exhale, crunch. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, 2. In. Exhale, 3. In. Exhale, crunch 4. Inhale. Exhale, 5. In. Out, 6. In. Out, 7. In. Out, 8. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale to unwind. Draw your knees into your chest, thighs into your belly. Open your arms out toward a capital T shape. Place your feet onto the floor. Press into your feet enough to lift your butt up about an inch and then let your butt move about 2 inches left. Come back down so you're more kind of on this outer right hip. Draw your knees into your chest and then spinal twist. Your legs go to the right. If you're very tight, you might place your pillow or your block between your legs. Or if it doesn't hurt your low back, you can bring that right hand onto the top thigh to help hold the legs together. Note, your feet should not be really tight into your butt. Instead, let your knees be more than a 90-degree angle, and that should release some of that pressure off of your low back. So long as it does not hurt your neck, turn your gaze to look away from your legs. Breathe. Belly, heart, throat, inhale. Throat, heart, belly, exhale. Two more here. And then you'll release, inhale back through the center. Take a moment, push your feet down onto the floor, press into your feet, lift up enough to slide your butt about 2 inches to the right. Lower back down onto that left hip, draw the knees into your chest, and then send your legs over toward the left, gaze to the right. Spinal twist. And again, your feet are not tight into your butt. Instead, give your body some space. That'll help you to open more easily. Maybe you can really focus on that exhale breath and letting go. It's those pillows between your legs, between your knees, that there's more space, especially if it hurts your low back. 2 more breaths. Rolling how your legs back through the center, give them a squeeze, and then for our final posture, we just lay down into what's called Shavasana. Especially in the beginning practice, this can be the most difficult of all the poses because it doesn't seem like you're doing anything at all. Take up enough space that your palms can be face up, your hands can even be all the way out to the sides, and please don't skip this pose. This is where our bodies begin to integrate the practice, and it's been suggested by the masters that this is the most important pose of all. Close your eyes. Notice what you've created. Maybe a dream-like space. Maybe a place. Your mind can let go. A place where there is no right or wrong answer. There's nothing to do or achieve. A place where deep inside of yourself, all the peace and the harmony that you could ever need exists. A place deep inside you that's connected to spirit. It's connected to love. Friendship. Maybe you find this place by imagining you could smile into your heart. It's something there excites you. Something whimsical and free. As you exhale, you keep it just melt. Melt into cells. Melt into relaxation. Notice how in this place, the mind is quiet. This perfect present moment. You are all you could ever need to be. Yes, my friends. And this is the path of being. And so you're welcome to stay here as long as you like, and you begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rock your chin a little bit left and right. And circle your ankles and your wrists. Roll over on the one side or the other and take a moment to pause in your fetal position. And slowly pushing yourself up into your seat. Thank you for the honor and the privilege of leading you through our practice. Namaste.